Hello, me. It's me from the past. Or if it's not me, hello, you. It's me from the past. I am here today not to grab your attention using various dopamine techniques. So I apologize for that. But I think if life turns into that, if that leaks out into reality, then we're in for a pretty grim future. So maybe we need to condition ourselves to just have a slightly better attention span. That's my attempt at an excuse for why I'm not going to be super snappy today. But if it is future me watching this, I think you're probably going to be watching this because you need to be reminded of what I'm going to say here. And so it's not that it's some big revelation, it's more like a thing that you need to be reminded of from time to time. So I'm going to talk about NPC logic and the NPC approach to socializing and building a social network. So I guess this is really a video for the loners. It's not really a video for people who already have a very rich and thriving social life. It's a video for people who are generally in a holding pattern of sort of being on their own. And I think this is becoming more and more common of a thing. At least that's what all the research seems to be suggesting. People at least qualitatively feel more lonely than ever and are more alone than ever. And we also have this idea emerging of the NPC, which stands for those who don't know, like my dad, for example, it stands for non-player character. And this is something that people who are raised with video games already know about, and probably most of the people watching this already know about, so I'm not going to harp on it very long. But basically, it's the idea that there are certain characters in the world that seem to not have any agency of their own. They only seem to react. They never seem to act. And so you can go over and talk to them, but they're not necessarily going to talk to you. And as the simulation theories have propagated, as AI becomes more and more common, and the Matrix as a film continues to kind of sink into the culture's psyche, I think we have this thought in the back of our mind that maybe we are living in some sort of simulation. Maybe some people really do seem to have to be non-player characters. They seem to sort of lack a spirit or lack a soul. Now, I don't personally believe that. I don't think that actually holds a lot of water conceptually. I don't think that's a healthy state of mind to be in. It's the kind of state of mind that could probably turn you more leaning towards a psychopath or a sociopath. Fortunately, it doesn't seem that people can actually very easily be turned into psychopaths or sociopaths. You sort of just are one or you aren't. But nevertheless, imagining that people are literally NPCs is going to lead to all kinds of ethical shenanigans, right? However, this concept, I think, can be useful as it pertains to socializing, because the thing is, if you're a lonely person or a loner, let's say, I don't want to say lonely because that has a lot of emotional connotations, but if you spend a lot of time by yourself and you don't habitually seek out other people, I find, this is in my personal experience, that the people that you tend to gravitate towards are also usually loners. When you make friends, you sort of find that you have this affinity for people who also have this kind of temperament, let's say. And as that as that becomes writ large, as those set of socializing experiences propagate and accumulate throughout your life, you start to find this situation where a lot of the people who you try to befriend will not have a habit of getting in touch with you. And if you are a loner, that is probably being underpinned by some sort of emotional complex that you have around how worthwhile it is to have other people in your life, right? Because at the end of the day, everybody has a value judgment about other people and whether other people are a good thing or a bad thing. And there's lots of factors for that. We don't really need to go into that. But for a lot of people, it's that other people can hurt you, right? And it's probably because you've been hurt, or you're just a very fearful person and you're perpetually afraid of being hurt. And so the problem with that is if people don't reach out to you, it sort of makes you feel like you're maybe unworthy of love or unworthy of being reached out to in the first place. And so it can create this negative feedback loop where you sort of take your revenge in a way of almost being like, well, if you don't need me, then I don't need you either, right? And I know this sort of characterizes borderline personality disorder, at least to some degree, this kind of knee-jerk, like mutually assured rejection type of thing. I'm just coining that now, so I'm not actually saying that's a big part of it. But the bottom line there is that you have to make a mental adjustment in order to actually build a social network. Because if you are simply just saying, hi, I'm Quillen, pleased to meet you, let's catch up for a coffee, you make the effort to go, meet them for a coffee, and then they never get in touch after that. And it's just that pattern over and over again. You're just going to stay lonely and you're just going to get gradually more bitter, right? Again, I'm talking to you, future Quillen. The NPC approach, to bring it back to that, is to say, no, people aren't literally NPCs, but because of a range of factors, two big ones being, number one, that people have emotional complexes, but number two, that people are just really fucking busy, right? People sort of find themselves in indentured servitude to a combination of their culturally instantiated ambitions and then their sort of quote unquote dreams. Like almost everyone is chasing paper, chasing tail, chasing their whatever dream thing, whatever remnant of that there is. And then when they're not doing that, because all of that is so exhausting, they're sinking into a sedation cycle. So they have a sedative, whether that's sex, alcohol, Netflix, whatever, that they can sink into, that they can basically escape from the grind. So they have the grind and then they have the sedative. And when are they ever going to get in touch with you between those two things? Well, they're only going to get in touch with you if they're the kind of person who thinks that getting in touch with people is something that should be a part of either their sedative subset or their grind subset. If they're a loner person like you, it's not part of either of those, so they're just never going to do it. And so what that means is that they're effectively an NPC as it pertains to actually getting in touch with you. It's not going to happen. It's not because you're unworthy of love. It's not because they don't like you or they, have sort of made some cynical calculation that you're not worth being around in their life. They are simply pinned down by their life circumstances. However, all you have to do is actually just reach out and just say, hey, do you want to catch up? I miss you. I want to know how you're going. And you'll find they'll actually start to open up to you. And once you actually build the relationship, right? Because early on, almost all relationships are effort. So the only people who are sort of reached out to by relative strangers all the time are really beautiful people. So people who are extremely fuckable, let's say, and people who are very high status, and the people think, oh, if I reach out to this person, maybe they can like open doors for me or whatever, right? If you're not one of those people, which most people aren't just going to reach out to you for the hell of it. And even if you are one of those people, there's always going to be that thing in the back of your mind, like, do they just want to fuck me, or do they just want to, get in on some business deal or something? So if you're sort of a quote unquote normie, in order for people to reach out to you and it to feel like the thing that they should be doing, quote unquote, you actually have to build a relationship for quite a long time where they feel comfortable, they feel that you have insights and you have a level of intimacy with them that they can really have valuable and, again, comforting interactions with you. So you have to, early on at least, actually actively reach out to the person as if they're an NPC, as if they're just standing wherever they're standing. Of course, you can phone them now. Even if they don't get back to you a lot, you can't be too offended by that though. And they're just standing somewhere in the world, and you just have to go, hey, it's me again. And they go, hello, what can I do for you? And you go, I want to be your friend. And they go, okay, let's go and do this thing. And then you go and do the thing, and then they come back and they stand there, and you don't get offended when they don't talk to you, because you're the one who has to press A. You're the one who has to initiate the conversation every time. And then a certain number of times in, they're actually not an NPC anymore. They actually reveal their agency through the fact that your relationship with them has flourished to the point where they are actually actively seeking you out as well. And hopefully, in time, if you can cultivate this kind of habit, you will actually stop gravitating towards other loners, and you'll start to actually gravitate towards social people, and you'll get a sense of what that's actually like, because things get much easier then. You might actually find that your values start to change. Okay, so that's the whole spiel, and I'm gonna leave it there because I'm making more of a habit of leaving it there. Music is coming. It's really sad to see all the guitars on the wall and not a lot of music. So I'm going to start a channel for the band, and stay posted for that. Subscribe, like, and all that stuff. Future me, you do that. Everyone else, don't really worry about it. And I send you my love. Farewell.